Yes, good evening, all. Nice to see that you are trying to solve the problems. And as I can see, there are some comments by many people telling me that, sir, please solve the problem and all. Yes, definitely. For next maybe half an hour, we are going to solve the problems. And if I'm audible to all, if you're audible, if you're able to listen to me, please type 1 so that I will be able to understand. I will be able to get a feedback. Just type 1 if you are able to understand. If you're able to hear me, please type 1. Ajay sir, is my screen sharing working? Okay. I'm going to share my screen with you all. I hope that the screen is visible to you all now. Ajay sir, I would like to get your feedback here. That are you able to see my screen? So let's go ahead. Dear students, can I start the explanation of first problem? Let's try to understand the first problem. See, this is really important for solving the aptitude questions. It requires two very important things. The very first important thing is you should be good at reading and comprehending the problem. It is one of the essential skills of solving the aptitude questions that you have to be very good at reading and comprehending the problem. The second most crucial part is you have to be very good at calculations, and most importantly, you have to have that accuracy in the calculations, because you are only able to get, you will only get around 90 seconds to solve a question. For example, in case of TCS, as you know very well, that we are supposed to solve 15 questions in 30 minutes. That means we will be getting around 2 minutes to one problem. Am I right? But still, you must understand that average time you will be getting is 90 seconds. So what all are the tasks that you are supposed to do in this 90 seconds is the very first task. You have to all you have to do is read and comprehend the problem. Second is you have to calculate the given particular data to find out the answer. And the most important is you are only having 90 seconds, correct? So let's go and let's start solving the problem now. So let us start by reading the problem, and let's try to write down whatever data we have during the reading itself. In the test, there are total n questions. There are n questions. Bhanu answers 20 out of 25 correctly. So Bhanu has attempted 20 questions, or he has attempted maybe 25 questions, but the correct questions are 20 in the first section. In the second section, he answers 60% question correct, and thus his total score is 66.66 in the test. Given that all the questions carry equal marks without any negative marking, the total number of questions in the test. So see, the first thing what I have understood is, as each question is carrying same marks, I'm going to assume that every question has 1 mark assigned to it. So if I'm going to solve one question correctly, I'm going to get 1 mark. So this one is going to help me to reduce the complexity of the problem. So you just consider that this is section A, this is section B, right? Section A, section B. Now section A has got 25 questions. And if there are total n questions in this examination or in this entire paper, the number of questions expected to be in another section, the remaining section, are going to be n minus 25. Am I right? Is that clear? So first section, there are 25 questions. The total number of questions are n. So in the other section, we will have n minus 25. Here, from the first section, Bhanu has solved 20 questions correctly. And in the other section, he has solved 60% correctly. Just look at that. I am trying to highlight that. He has solved 60% correctly. 60% questions correctly. So now the number of correct questions are going to be 60%. What is the meaning of 60%? 60% is actually, let us reduce it, it is 3 by 5. Am I right? I have reduced this by 20. 23 is a 60, 25 is a 100. So Bhanu has solved 3 by 5 of n minus 25 correctly. So what is the average score of uh, Bhanu in this test? It is 66.66%. And try to understand, apply common sense, that only correct answers are supposed to be considered while calculating this particular percentage. So if you are agreed to this, if you're able to understand my point, I would like to take this calculations further. So look on the screen. As the average marks or the percentage marks are 66.66, we are going to add the correct questions that are solved during the test, that is 20 plus 3 by 5 n minus 25, and the total questions are actually n. Am I right? So if instead of doing into 100, what I will do is I will write 66.66 upon 100, or anybody can go with this choice as well. You can directly write 2 by 3, because 66.66% is actually 2 by 3. Am I right? 2 by 3. Now this is expected that you should solve this question so that you will be able to get the final answer. This is the equation. Once you will solve this, you will be able to get your final answer. Now, suppose if a student doesn't want to solve by this method, you can do in this way as well. I'm going to write it by using my another color, that the total questions are 25 in one section, correct? So you can go ahead with key, you will start writing, or chalo theek hai, instead of going into more complicated way, this is sufficient. So solve this equation and you will find your answer as n is equal to 75. You will get the answer as n is equal to 75. Are you able to get this? So I would like to take your feedback. I would like to get your feedback that have you understood? Have you understood the explanation or not? Please type 1. If you have understood, please type 1. I'm waiting for your reply. Okay, many students are saying, okay, okay, okay. Thank you, everybody. Just to repeat, this is total number of questions in first section. As total number of questions given in the test are n, the rest of the questions are going to be n minus 25. So correct questions are 20, and he has solved 60% correctly in this another section. 60% is 3 by 5 of n minus 25. So add these two divided by n, which is the total value, which is equal to 2 by 3. So once you will solve this, so 100 plus 3 into bracket n minus 25 upon 5n is equal to 2 by 3, right? This is the equation that we are supposed to solve. So ultimately 300 plus 9n minus 75 is equal to 10n. You can solve and you can get the correct answer. That's not a big deal. So let's try moving to the second problem now. The second problem is loading. By that time, I would like to take your feedback. Okay, Kiran. Yes, I'm going to take the next question. That is comparatively very easy. Relatively, that question is very easy. So as you can see on the screen, just watch the screen. The charges per hour of internet surfing is increased by charges per hour of internet surfing is increased by 25%. So as you can see that there is an increase of 25%. As we say, there is an increase of 25%, that means if you assume that the earlier value was 100, now the next value has become 125. There is a rise of 25%. Then find the percentage decrease in the time period of surfing a user, who can afford 10% increase in the expense. That's a very simple problem. Instead of writing some equations x and y's, let's do it in a very simple way. Cost of internet into the usage of internet is equal to the total expenditure. Now, as we don't know the cost of internet, as we don't know the initial usage of internet, and as we really don't know the expenditure, total expenditure, I'm going to assume that the cost of internet is 100, maybe per MB, per GB and all. So the usage is also 100. I'm going to assume that the initial usage is, I'm going to just assume that the initial usage of the internet is 100. So eventually the cost becomes 10,000. Am I right? So the expenditure becomes 10,000. So initial cost of internet before the raise, increase in cost was 100. The usage was 100 units maybe, and the total expenditure, which is a multiplication of these two, is 10,000. Now the problem is going to become very simple. As we know that the cost of internet is increased by 25%, so the new cost is going to be 125. We are supposed to calculate the new usage of internet, and it is given that the customer is able to sustain, or he is ready to afford 10% rise in the expenditure. So 10% of 10,000 is 1,000. So the new value will be 11,000, because 10% of 10,000, 10% of 10,000 is actually 1,000. I'm not going to explain this. This is a very basic thing. I hope everybody is knowing that. Now I'm supposed to calculate this answer, 11,000 divided by 125. Now I'm not going to reduce this by using the conventional method. I know that the 2 times of 125 is 500 and 2 times of 250 is 500. So 2 times of that 500 is going to be 1000. Listen to me very carefully. Double of 125 is 250. I know this. Double of that value is 500 and double of that is 1000. So ultimately 8 times of 125 is 1000. So 80 times of 125 is going to be 10,000, and there is one more 1000 pending, which is going to be 8. So my answer of this division is 88. So the internet usage has become 88. That means there is a reduction in 12%. There is a reduction of 12%. There is a reduction of 12% during internet usage, which is option B. Here, the most important part is don't waste your time in assuming some variables like X and Y. It's very simple. The cost into utilization is expenditure. Assume initial cost as 100 because it is a standard value, which it's a primary base which helps in calculation. Assume the utilization as 100 so that the expenditure goes to 10,000. Increase the cost by 25%. Increase the expenditure by 10%, which is because it's given in the data, and calculate the usage. This is also very important. Don't go into this reduction kind of things. 25 5s are 125, 24 4s are 100, and this 440, and then you will calculate. Don't do that. You must be very good at your basic skills. The double of 125 is 250, 250 is double is 500. That means 125 8s are 1000. So 125 into 80 is going to be 10,000, and there is one more 1000, that means 8. So the answer is going to be 88. So the answer will be 88, and there is a reduction of 12. So I would request you all, if you have understood this problem, please type 1 and let's go ahead. Please type 1. Please type 1. If you have understood the problem, please type 1. If you have understood the problem, please type 1. Any doubts? Please tell me any doubts if you have any doubts. I would like to know if you have any doubts. Kiran, I'm waiting for your answer, Kiran. If you're okay with the question, please let me know. If you're okay with the question, please let me know so that I can go ahead, I can move ahead with the next problem. Ajay sir, maybe you can reply in the meeting as well so that I would be able to understand. Ajay sir, can I go ahead? Ajay sir, can I go ahead? Can I go ahead with the next problem? Okay, Ajay sir, I got your point. Okay. Everybody who is present there, can I go for the next problem? So I'm going forward. Read the problem carefully. It's a very simple problem. I'm getting some data while reading itself. I'm able to get some data while reading itself. The average age of the average age of 7 members of a family is 25. So as you know that the average is always equal to sum of given set of numbers divided by total number of numbers. So there are 7 members in this family. So total number of numbers are 7, and the average age of this family is 25, means the average is 25. Average is 25. So the ages, sum of ages of the family will be 25 into 7, which is 175. Am I right? Everybody, am I right? Can you understand my point? The sum of ages is equal to 25 into 7 is equal to 175. So let's go ahead with the next problem now. Sorry, next statement which is given to us now. One of the members, one of the members, one of the members whose age is 28 years is excluded. So what they have done, they have excluded a person whose age is 28 from this particular family. So finally, now the family is of 6 people. The family has dropped down to 6 members because they have excluded a person whose age is 28. So what is 175 minus 28? 175 minus 28 is reduce 30 from 175. So 175 minus 30 is 145. Now add 2 so that you will get 175 minus 28. So 147. The sum of, look at this carefully, the sum of new family after excluding one person is now 47. What is the next data given to us? Then the others are in the ratio, 1 is to 2 is to 3 is to 4 is to 6 is to 5. All right. So we can get an equation that is 1x plus 2x. That means I'm assuming the age as x, which is common into this everybody's age, and I'm going to add this to each other, 3x plus 4x plus 5x. So what is the addition? 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10, 10 plus 11 is 21. So that what we get here is, what we have understood from this is 21x, correct, is equal to 147. Now after watching this number, I have realized this 147 is easily divisible by 7. How did I come to know? How did I understood this? I understood this because the rule to decide whether a number is divisible by 7 or not is you remove the unit digit value from that given number and subtract it from the remaining digits. So if I remove that 40 minus 7, I will get 7, and the remaining answer is divisible by 7. That means this 147 is divisible by 7. That means instead of wasting time, I will reduce and I will find the value of x, and the x is 3 and maybe 21. So the value of x is 7. And finally, we have been asked to find out the age of eldest member. Eldest member is 6 into 7, that is 42, which is option B. So the answer for the third question is 42, and it's very simple. Perfect, perfect. There are many students who has solved the problem. Let me just repeat. As per the given data, the initial sum of the ages of family was 175. Now they removed a person from this family, and the new sum of the entire family has become 147. As we have removed one person from this family, the number of family members has now become 6. So there are certain ratios given to us. Their addition becomes 21x, as I have assumed the age of each family member to be, or I have assumed a constant in the ratio as x. And finally, I got the value of x, and the answer is 42. As this was a very simple problem, I would like to go ahead and I would like to take next problem, which is comparatively more challenging. Students with adequate knowledge of mixture and alligations are only able to solve this. So students with adequate knowledge of mixture and alligation can solve this problem. I would wait for 1 minute. I would wait for a few seconds and I will go ahead. Just type 1 if you allow me to go ahead with the problem. If you allow me to go ahead, just type 1. Everybody just type 1. Want me to go ahead, type 1. So as I'm getting responses from people, I would like to take this forward, and I would start explaining the next problem. This problem is belonging to mixture and alligations. So what is given to us? Let's try to understand. I would like to highlight the important data which is given to us. A and B are two alloys of gold and copper. So it is given that there are two alloys made up of gold and copper prepared by mixing metals in the ratio 7:2. So gold and copper are in the ratio 7:2, and the ratio of gold and copper is 7:2, right? Extremely sorry. And the ratio of uh, gold and copper in other alloy is 7:11. So as per the data, there are two alloys, A and B, which are given to us. Now these alloys have gold and copper in them. All right. So the proportion in the first is 7:2, and the proportion in the other is 7:11. This is a very simple, but this is a very simple problem, but you have to understand the basic concept of mixture and alligation, that when it comes to a mixture of two individual materials or elements, there are 7 parts of one material, and there are 2 parts of the another material which are mixed into each other to form an alloy, and you cannot separate now. Like for example, if you have mixed milk and water into each other in certain quantity, after mixing you cannot separate out them. So what is the next data which is given to us? If equal quantities of the alloys are melted to form a third alloy C, the ratio of gold and copper in C will be, okay, all right. So we are supposed to form a alloy C where we will have again gold and copper, and we are going to add A and B into each other in the same quantity. What does this mean? If I have 2 kgs of A, I will have 2 kgs of B. If I have X kgs of A, I should have X kgs of B to form this C. So let us try to understand this problem, how to deal with this problem, how to solve this particular problem. Let me explain you. So first of all, as we do not know the quantities of A and B, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that I have 9 units of A, and I have used this 9 because the sum of 7 plus 2, 7 and 2 is 9. So I have added these ratios into each other to find the quantity of A. So I have 9 units of A, and similarly I have 18 units of B, correct? So in first alloy, I have 7 units of gold and 2 units of copper. And in the second alloy B, I have 7 units of gold and 11 units of copper. But we are expecting to add same quantities of A and B. So I cannot add 9 units of A and 18 units of B. So I have to have same units of A and B. So in order to make the problem more simplified, I would double the quantity of A. So in 18 units of A, there are 14 units of copper, 14 units of gold, and 4 units of copper. When I have 18 units of B with me, in that the gold and copper are going to remain the same, that is 7 and 11, because it is already 18 units. So now when I'm going to add them into each other, I will have C, and now the C is having 36 units because this is 18 and this is 18, and the gold is 14 plus 7, that is 21 is gold, and 4 plus 11, that is 15 is copper. So the ratio is going to be reduce it by 3. So the ratio of gold and copper in the newly formed alloy is 7 is to 5. 7 threes are 21, 5 threes are 15. So the answer is C, 7 is to 5. I hope that you all are able to understand this particular problem, correct? Absolutely right. So this was very important. I have doubled the value of A, quantity of A. Instead of, I could have done 18 by 2 and might have equated with 9, but that would have given me these values like 3.5 and 5.5. So I did not want it to go into decimal points. So that is the reason I avoided this particular thing of using or doing half value of 18. I have doubled this and I have solved this. So I would like to know from you, I would like to take your feedback, whether have you understood this problem or not. I will wait for a few seconds and then we will go ahead. Is it okay? I would request Pratiksha or Priyanka to respond. Ujjwala, Abhishek. Okay. So I'm waiting for your response and then I will go ahead with the last problem of today's session. One thing that you all have to understand is these problems are being asked into TCS tests at different points of time, maybe in 2015, 16, 17, maybe in NQT or Ninja. These problems were asked. That is the reason we are trying to explain these problems. So even if you are not able to understand these problems in live lecture, you can come back and you can watch these lectures again because they are going to be available. If you have any kind of doubts, you can ask, you can post your comments to us, you can write email to us at info@shikuya, right? If you have any kind of doubt about uh, these problems that I'm teaching you today, you can come and you can ask and you can write an email to us so that we will be able to explain, re-explain these problems to you. So let's go ahead to the last problem. A machine depreciates a value in each year at the rate depreciates in each year at a rate 15% its previous value. Basically, you must understand one thing, that suppose initially I have my price as initially if I have my price as 100 in the first year, and if in the second year it is going to depreciate by 15%, that means my price is going to become 85. Am I right? Basically, we explain all these concepts in detail in our revision sessions. Definitely for TCS mentorship program, we will have some revision sessions as well. But till that particular time, bear with me, I won't be able to explain in detail. So you must understand when it comes to depreciation, this is really important. Depreciation, right? Depreciations means the value is reducing by 15%. So there is a very useful formula. Remember, you have to remember everything. Plus or minus A plus or minus B plus or minus AB upon 100. So everybody have to understand this particular formula. Let me just explain this. What is this? If my initial salary is 1000 for the first year, and for the second year, my salary for the second year, my salary was increased by 10%. Or instead of getting that example, let us discuss key. I have bought a pen of 1000 rupees, and now I'm going to sell it to somebody in the second year with a profit of 10%. Profit means plus, correct? Plus 10, it is going to increase. Now this will be 1100 if I'm not wrong. But maybe in the third year again, I'm going to sell it to somebody with a loss of 10%. Loss of 10%. So this will be 990. Am I right? Everybody in my session, are you able to understand my point? Because 10% of 1100 is 110. So 1100 minus 110 is going to be 990. So instead of explaining this in entire way, in complete way, if I would have told you that initially I'm increasing something by 10%, I'm increasing something by 10%, and later on I'm decreasing something by 10%, majority of the students will come up with this answer, obvious answer, that there will not be any change. Many of the students will say that there will not be any change in the value. But try to observe this. When it was 1000, I increased by 10%, it has become 1100. When I reduced it again by 10%, it has become 900, because the base values that we are using for the calculation are different. So based on this concept, this is a very useful formula for two-step change problems. So let the problems be from profit and loss, let the problems be from geometry and mensuration, because sometimes they give us that there is a rectangle with rectangle with dimensions A and B. Now the length of the rectangle will be increased by some percent, the breadth will be increased by some percent or decreased by some percent. Then what will be the change in the area of rectangle? So for this kind of problems, this is a very useful, very useful formula. If anybody of you is interested to learn this formula, if anybody wants to learn this formula, please let us know. We will arrange a dedicated lecture for fundamental concepts of percentage, maybe in the next week or next to next week, so that you will be able to understand this particular problem and the basic concepts of this particular problem. So let us come back to the main problem now. Let us try to understand the basic problem now, what is given to us. It is given to us that there is a depreciation of 15%. That means in the initial year, it is going to reduce by 15%. And then there is no depreciation, or there is a depreciation of only 4%. Look at the problem. It was initially 15%. It was 4%. So by using that particular formula, plus or minus A plus or minus B plus or minus AB upon 100, that becomes this much. So this value is 15 minus 19 plus 60 upon 100. So 0 is getting cancelled with each other. So minus 19 plus 6 by 10, that is 3 by 5. So this is roughly around 18 point something. I'm not interested to calculate that something because that is very complicated and that is essentially not required. Because this is minus 19 and this is approximately 0.6. So this is going to be 18.4 to be precise, right? But that is not required. So what has happened? For the first year, there was a reduction of 15%. For the second year, there was a reduction of 4%. So at the second year, the value has not reduced by 19%, but it has reduced by 18 point something. So if we apply the same rule, if we apply the same logic for the next set of 2 years, it is expected that the value will be reducing by around approximately around 35%, around 35%. But I'm sure, as you can observe, that the value was not 19 but less than 19. Similarly, the value is not going to be around 35 or 34. So closely this will be less than 30% or 35%. So what I'm trying to tell you is, instead of going into these calculations, use some logic that as there is a two-step change of 36%, the value is going to be very somewhere in between 30% to 34%. So if you consider the first option, that cannot be the answer, because 1664, and if you consider the first option 2000, this is nearly 20%, correct? So this is not the option. If you consider 3350, this is around maybe 50% less. So I will go with the third option, because only possibilities are C and D. I will go with 2500. So if I calculate 2500 into 2/3, because as I want to reduce the value by 1/3 or 33%, that is 1/3, the remaining is going to be 2/3. So just calculate 2/3 of 2500. that is approximately 1600, or maybe precisely 1666.66. So this is our answer. You do not require to go to the D option. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, always remember one thing, that calculations, lengthy calculations are not going to help you in your problem solving. You have to understand this concept to understand this problem in more detail. Two-step change, two-step change, and you have to be good at approximation while calculation, because that is going to help you a lot. So I hope you have understood the problem that I have tried to explain. I would like to get your feedback that you understood or not. In case if you have any doubts about the problem, you can post your doubts in the comment box, or you can write us an email so that we will explain that particular problem again to you all, and that will be helpful for everybody. So I would request you all to comment in the comment box, and then we will conclude in today's session. I would request Ojas sir to be with me here so that I can understand whether I am going to finish my session or not. Shraddha says repeat. All right, Shraddha will repeat again. I will repeat again. There is a depreciation of 15%. There is a depreciation of 15%. Am I right? There is a depreciation of 15%. Try to understand. So if initially the cost was 100, initially the cost was 100. After reducing it by 15%, the cost will be 85. Again, I have to reduce this cost by 4%. So 1% of 85 is 0.85. 1% of 85 is 0.85. Am I right? Because 10% is 8.5. So if I want to reduce this by 4%, that means I have to multiply this 85. So 0.80 into 4 is 3.20, and 0.05 into 4 is 0.2. So approximately 3.4. So 85 minus 3.4, I am going to get the value somewhere around 6, 1, maybe 7 point something kind of, sorry, 81 point something kind of. So this is for the first year. For the second year, now again I'm going to reduce it by 15%, and again whatever may be the answer, I'm going to reduce this value further by 4%, because they're talking about depreciation. So Shraddha, you cannot do these calculations, or you cannot solve this problem by this kind of approach where you have to go for a lot of calculations. This is wrong way to solve this problem. You cannot go into these things. So I shared a formula a few minutes ago with you all. Today I'm unable to tell you that details of the formula, and that formula is plus or minus A plus or minus B plus or minus AB upon 100. By using this formula, you can calculate the net change during these last 2 years, or for the next 2 years, in this way, that is minus 19 plus 3 by 5. This 3 by 5 is actually 0.6, right? So minus 19 plus 0.6 is actually around minus 18 point something. So if you use the same formula for the third year, third year there will be some answer, and for the fourth year, so approximately if you add 18 plus 18, that goes to 36, right? So the finally in the fourth year, after the fourth year, your value should be in the range of 32% or 34%, should be in the range. So I have just tried to solve that my value is not going to be A, not going to be B, but somewhere 2500 and 200 and 2750. And I just selected, I picked this value 2500 and I calculated two-thirds of this. Ojas sir, I request you to arrange my session for one step change, two step change, that is the basic of the percentage chapter, the basic of percentage chapter, where I would be able to explain this problem dedicatedly so that these people will be able to understand what I am trying to tell. Because as I am good with my aptitude, I have done this, but you might be having some doubts about this. Sharmin Maner, I would explain this problem in my session of percentage again so that you will be able to understand this. Uh, so probably you might have understood these five problems. So I would request everybody that I hope you have understood, and we will have another session of percentage chapter where I would explain you what I'm trying to tell you about this formula. So thanks for being into the session. And let me repeat again, I'm going to explain this problem into a dedicated session while revising the basic concepts of percentage. I'm going to explain this again while revision of percentage. So don't feel that I'm not going to repeat this problem. Yes, I'm going to repeat this problem in detail while the revision of percentage chapter. Those who are interested to learn the basic techniques and tricks of percentage, type 1. If you are interested to learn the basics of percentage, tricks of percentage, type 1. I'm waiting for your reply. Please type 1. So if you are interested to know the basics of percentage, then please type 1 in the comment box. The last problem was related to the concept two-step change. This is really important. The problem was related to two-step change. Yes, I can see that you all are interested to learn these things. So that is the reason I'm writing. These are the basic concepts of percentage, and we will try to cover those concepts in my subsequent session. So I would request you all to give your feedback in the chat bot that is being shared with you every day regularly. Hmm? So see you then. See you in tomorrow's session.